Hi, I'm Olivia. Mila's back on the bed because I'm still trying to. That last video was real short, and she just barely got settled. She was kind of sitting here, and I'm like, sorry, I have to move you again. So, I'm doing all these new books, all these things on my TBR pile, and suddenly I'm like, you know what? I should go back and visit some of my favorite books from when I was younger, which is where Freaky Friday comes in. This is the second copy of this book I've bought. Ooh, look, you can see the reflection in my window. This is the second copy of this book I've bought. I don't know where my first copy is. It's here somewhere. And there are differences between the two, which is kind of fun. But also, I might be changing how I do these without doing the scripts because I'm so far behind. It is really, really distressing. So, I might have to start doing it with the post-it notes. I might just do post-it flags and just like kind of flip through, and because I'm going to read a couple passages for you and I might just kind of flip through and go, okay, so this is where this happens, and this is where this happens, and this is where this happens, and this part I love because of this kind of a thing. So we'll see how it goes. So the other one I have, I think, is the tie-in copy, the tie-in one for the Jodie Foster movie, and it kind of gives away the ending in a way. I'll explain later. So there, here's some of the examples that I remember. One of the references is one of the things they changed is that, okay, so you probably know the basic plot. Basically, Annabelle Andrews wakes up in her mom's body and has to fake it to get through the whole day. Now, in the movies, you also trace the mom's story, where the mom is. We don't know where the mom is. She thinks that she's, she's like, maybe she's Queen Elizabeth II or Jackie Onassis. Both of whom were alive when the book was read. When the book was written in 1972. Neither of whom are alive today. So, when Annabelle wakes up, her hair's in curlers because it's the 1970s, and that's the sort of thing women did. They would go and get their hair done like once a week, and then they like wear curlers, and they'd put like bandanas over their head in order to keep their hair from being mussed up because it was going to be another week before they could get their hair done again. Annabelle wakes up and is pleased to find that to have her mother's beautiful face, and gives her full face of makeup first thing in the morning. Then she wakes. I'm going to refer to Annabelle's father / Ellen's husband as Bill throughout, just because it's kind of weird to call him her father when she's in her mother's body. So I'm just going to call him Bill, which is his name. She wakes Bill up, makes breakfast, and wonders where her mind is and who's in Annabelle's body. She looks in her bedroom, and Annabelle's eating marshmallows for breakfast. Her mother hates marshmallows. So Annabelle decides that, okay, so I'm in my mom's body, and I'm apparently also Annabelle. So where's my mom? She gets Annabelle and her brother Ben. Annabelle calls Ben Apeface. So we're going to call him Apeface for reasons that will become obvious later. Off to school and sends Bill off to work. Before he leaves, he reminds Annabelle that Mrs. Schmaus, the cleaning lady, is coming that day, and not to let her do her shirt since she always does them wrong. He also asks her to pick up some liquor at the liquor store, and I'm like, she's 13. I mean, she's in the body of a 30-something-year-old woman, 35, I think, but still. No, 35? Yeah, I think so. She's in the body of like a 35-year-old woman, but still, ew. That's something that probably maybe later versions would have to fix. So, this is 1970s enough that they can have that. You only need one income to keep a 3-bedroom apartment in high-rise in New York City. It's close enough to Manhattan, to Central Park, that you can cut through it. So it must be Manhattan. They don't think they ever actually specify where she lives. So Annabelle decides to do the shirts herself, since Mrs. Schmaus always messes them up, and she's never done laundry before. I'm pretty sure I knew the basics of doing laundry younger than 13. I'm pretty sure I knew the basics of doing laundry when we were living in the house where I grew up. and we moved out of the house when I was 11. And I know Alex did, because I would, when I first started working my current employer, I was working there till 11 o'clock at night, and I didn't have time to do my laundry. I was too busy, I'd be trying to get Alex off to school in the morning and trying to get myself together to go to work the next day. So I wasn't gonna do laundry. I get home at 11, so I'd pay Alex to do it. Basically, Alex got basically minimum wage. If Alex took 15 minutes of actual contact time doing the laundry, Alex got 15 minutes, $2. I think I rounded up to $8 or $10 or something. So, anyway, but Annabelle doesn't know the basics because, of course, they've got a cleaning lady. And this was 1970s, and ecology was the big thing. And I've never seen the ecology flag. It's like green and white stripes with a big E on it. My parents even had a sticker of that. I think they donated to some kind of group. There was a sticker with the ecology flag on our front door. Annabelle doesn't feel, since she's very into the environment, into ecology, she doesn't feel right running a whole load just for shirts. So she crams a bunch of other things in there, including rugs and Ape Face's gym shoes. And then she throws a whole bunch of laundry detergent in there too. What's the first quote that we're going to be reading? Yes. So, also, Annabelle suggests that she and Bill go out to a movie that night and thinks this is a chance to see an actual grown-up movie, and recommends something called Brucey and Betsy. And in the older version I have, sorry about the tangent, I forgot about this part. In the version I have, it's referred to as X-rated. In this one, it's referred to as sexy. And I'm like, with your dad? But, somewhere in between reading the two books, I came to the conclusion that Brucey and Betsy was probably meant to be Bonnie and Clyde. Now, Mary Rodgers was still alive when this came out, so maybe it was supposed to be that kind of X-rated movie. But, Bonnie and Clyde actually almost got an X rating for violence. They had to cut back some of the scenes in order to get it to be an R. So that's what I always figured it was probably Bonnie and Clyde, because that would be something you'd want to go see. It was a good movie. It's something that, a kid might be interested. Not a kid, but, something that would be a little less weird to go to see with your dad. I went to see my first R-rated movie with my cousin. She was an adult. She's 23 years older than I am. So it wasn't like that weird. And it was Alien, which I expected to be sexy. It wasn't. It was R-rated for violence. So yeah. So we've been introduced, back to laundry. We've been introduced to her mom's attitude towards the laundry detergent of the 1970s. Because up until the 1970s, laundry detergent had phosphorus in it in the form of phosphates. The phosphates caused algal blooms, algal? And it blooms and lowered oxygen in waterways, leading to die off of the fish in the waterways. And that's not bad for the ecosystem, but also the smell of dead fish is unpleasant for people living nearby. So I think that might be why she put so much laundry detergent there, because the laundry detergent that they use doesn't have phosphates in it, and therefore her mom thinks it doesn't clean as well, which it probably didn't. There was actually used to be a dish detergent that had phosphates in it, and the commercial for it showed somebody putting an entire cake in the dishwasher, and the dishwashing detergent would dissolve the entire cake. You can't get that anymore. So soon after she starts the laundry, she hears a knock at the door, and it's Boris Harris, Annabelle's crush. Boris is a year older than she is. I don't know why he's home while everybody else is in school. Maybe he's homeschooled, but he also has a terrible problem with adenoids, which are the things in the back of your nose that swell up and make you sound like this. Maybe he's homesick. It's never really explained. Annabelle has ruined any chance she ever had with Boris when they were 9 and 10, when Annabelle hit Boris in the head with a metal shovel at the playground. Boris is there to return a colander that his mother had borrowed. Of course, because of the adenoids, it comes out saying that he was returning a colander that his mother had borrowed. Annabelle and Boris play a game called knock hockey, which apparently is like air hockey, but with like actual sticks. It's not without the air. Anyway, they play that game for a while until the congestion goes away, and then he leaves. The washer makes horrible noises. Suds go all over the floor, leading their dog Max to try to eat the suds. Suddenly, the washer stops. She calls a washer repair place, and they say they can be out in a week and a half. Just then, Mrs. Schmaus arrives, smelling absolutely terrible. Annabelle's mom is a smoker, and so it's blunted her sense of smell. And Annabelle's like, maybe this is why Mrs. Schmaus is still here, because she smells really bad. She smells like she's been in the booze. Annabelle says she doesn't know what's going on with the washer, and Mrs. Schmaus points out that the washer is done. It's finished the cycle. Annabelle says that Bill asked her to do the shirts this time, and Mrs. Schmaus says, well, you always do his shirts because that's one of the two things I refuse to do. One is his shirts, and the other is cleaning Annabelle's room, which is a disaster. She refers to Annabelle's room as a pigsty and says cleaning the pigsty is the province of the mother of the pig. This upsets Annabelle. She explains to Annabelle, thinking she's explaining to Ellen that she put too much stuff, too many different items in there, and also too much soap, and she didn't sort it properly, and that's why there's and the smell of alcohol on Mrs. Schmaus gets to Annabelle too much, and finally she just says, Mrs. Schmaus, you're fired. Mrs. Schmaus is like, well, I never. And Annabelle tells her that she knows that Mrs. Schmaus has been drinking her folks' alcohol, and Mrs. Schmaus leaves. So now Annabelle has to run errands. She's got to go to the liquor store, and as she's coming out of the liquor store, she sees a bunch of people gathered around, including a police officer. And she's kind of a looky-loo, so she goes to check it out. And it turns out to be Apeface. He yells, Mommy! And runs to her and hits her in the back with something hard. And this is another change between the two books, this scene, because one of the onlookers says that she should be reported to the ASPCA, which is the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, and Annabelle corrects her and says C, meaning the ASPCC, the American Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Children, and the woman thinks she's speaking Spanish. And in the first version, the version that I got from Scholastic back in the 70s, it says, the woman says, oh, Hispanic, huh? This version, she uses a slur. So that's the second difference that I really noticed. She takes Apeface home because apparently it's a half-day kindergarten, and she's decides it's time to clean out the fridge. So she puts all the leftover from the food from the fridge on the counter, and they start eating the food, including cold macaroni. And Apeface decides to put grape jelly on his meatballs. Why not? He decides he likes it that way, by the way. At this point, Apeface tells Annabelle that he loves Annabelle, and his friends think Annabelle's the best thing since sliced bread. He also loves that she calls him Apeface, which is why I'm using the term, because it's the name he prefers to be used. So we're going to do that. And his friends are all jealous because they don't have cool nicknames like that. But he can't tell Annabelle this, because if he's smart enough to know that if he told Annabelle that he likes being called Apeface, Annabelle would stop calling him Apeface. Bill calls and tells her that his client from Francie's Fortified Fish Fingers wants to meet their kids, and they'll be coming for dinner that day. He also asks about the thing with Annabelle's teachers and principal. This is news to Annabelle. There's a note on her day planner saying 2:30, and there's a box around it, but nothing else indicating what 2:30 was, so she realizes 2:30 must be the meeting. She's like, okay, so I'll take Apeface with me, but one of his friends is supposed to be coming over. They've been trying to arrange this play date forever. So finally she calls Boris and asks Boris if he can babysit. Also, she tells Boris that Francie's fortified fish fingers is coming for dinner, and she just went through the fridge and there's nothing to eat. So she asks him, she's like, can you also come up with something to have for dinner tonight? Now, there's some discussion of how to travel from from the apartment to the school, and it's taking 2 up and 2 down buses or something. I don't know what that is. So she takes a cab. She still gets there really late, though. She's over an hour late by the time she gets there. She bumps into some of her friends, and her friends say Annabelle didn't show up for school that day. And Annabelle's like, I'm not like me to skip school. I don't know, why would I not have gone to school today? So she finally makes it to the principal's office, and since she made them wait, they're making her wait. So it takes a while for them to get the group together, which is the principal, Ms. McGurk, the English teacher, and Dr. Ortunian, the school psychologist. And they go over how disappointed they are at Annabelle's performance in school. McGurk tells her that Annabelle had an extra credit project due that day, and since she didn't come to school, Annabelle will fail English. Finally, but they discuss it. Finally, McGurk relents and gives Annabelle until the start of school on Monday. She goes home and finds that her friends have taken over her apartment, and Boris and Apeface are gone. Annabelle kicks the friends out. It's like, why are you meeting at I know it was time for our friend group to meet here, but Annabelle's not here. Why are you here? And they all realize that's probably a good point. So she calls Boris to see where he and Apeface are. And actually, this is the third change. I put two and then anyway, there's a third change. Boris says that a beautiful chick came by and picked up Apeface and they left. So Boris put the meatloaf in the oven and took off. And went home. And she she calls the police, and this is the first thing I'm going to read. And this is one of my favorite scenes in the whole book. She starts out because the police officer who answers the phone is the one that was there when she picked up Apeface because she was running late getting him. Officer Plonchik, do you by any chance happen to recall an incident that occurred at approximately 12:17 today on the corner of 71st and Central Park West involving a darling little 6-year-old boy whose mother was 2 minutes late meeting him at the school bus? Yeah, said Plonchik, by which he seemed to mean I should keep talking. Well, this is the mother speaking, and I want to thank you very much for everything you did. It's all right, said Plonchik, and I want to ask for your help because last time you only thought he was lost, and he really wasn't. But this time he definitely is lost, and I'm desperate. Aw, come on, ma'am. On the level now, you didn't just abandon him again and forget where. Try to retrace your steps. You've already been to the liquor store. Maybe you left him at the cleaners. The drugstore? Listen, that's enough of your jokes. My dumb jokes. My son was kidnapped from our apartment while under the care of a reliable babysitter. As a matter of fact, the abductor was even seen by the babysitter. He says she was. You mean she says he was? No, I do not mean that. I mean he says she was. He is the babysitter, a very reliable 14-year-old boy who lives upstairs, and she was apparently a beautiful chick, in the original it says sexy, who lured my son out for ice cream while he was making meatloaf in the kitchen. And, you know, people put their hands over the mouthpiece of the phone and think the person on the other end can't hear, but they can. Plonchik made the same mistake. Rookie cop. Hey, Harv, listen into this for a while, will you? I can't tell whether this dame is a fruitcake or for real. I decided I didn't have time to get mad. Shall I repeat the first part for Harv? I inquired politely. They won't be necessary, ma'am. Just keep going. So the 14-year-old boy was making meatloaf in the kitchen, Harv snorted, and apparently a beautiful chick lured my son away while I was at a school meeting concerning my daughter. I haven't seen him since. And she's missing, too. There's another snort of laughter. Stop that, Harv. It's not funny. I'm not talking about the chick being missing. I'm talking about my daughter being missing. See if you can trace this, said Plonchik with his hand over the phone. I changed my mind. What we got here is either a nut or a child murderer. Murderess, said a new voice. Thanks for the grammar lesson. That you, Stan? No, it's me, said the voice. It is I, said I. Who is I? Said Plonchik. How could it have been you, ma'am? You've been here on the phone this whole time. Forget it, I said. Give me Merv. I'll take Merv instead of Stan. You on there, Merv? Yes, ma'am. I've been here since the beginning. Aren't you the sneaky one? At least I don't have to go back over the first part. Okay, I'll take it from the top quickly. My son you know about. My daughter, she started out for school this morning with my son, but after she dropped him off, she played hooky. I don't know where she went. For all I know, she's lying under a number 7 bus. Let's have a description of your daughter, said Merv. She's 13, about 5 foot 3 inches tall, brown hair, brown eyes, brown hair, long, stringy brown hair, and a mouthful of braces. Real ugly kid, added Boris. Kill, kill. But listen, guys, this is important. The point is, I've also lost my mother. There were a few seconds of silence, and Plunchik said, I see, you've lost your son, your daughter, and your mother. Oaksy doksy, let's have a description of your mother. She's 35, brown hair. Wait a minute, she's 35. Your mother's 35. How old does that make you? All of a sudden, I was sick of the whole thing. Wearily, I said, 13. I'm only 13. I'm just a little girl who's been turned into her mother. I mean, I'm in my mother's body with my mind, and I don't know if my mind isn't her, if her body isn't mine isn't my body or not, because my body played hooky from school and hasn't been seen since early this morning, and maybe my mother isn't there anywhere. She might have there anyway. She might have decided it'd be more fun to be Jackie Onassis or Queen Elizabeth, or who knows who she might have wanted to turn into. Anyway, at this point, soon after this, Boris comes into the room and hangs up the phone so that they can't trace it. So soon after that, somebody knocks on the door, and she goes to the door, and it's a man and a woman. And she's like, oh, the people from the mental hospital have come for me. Good to know. And she's treating them like, well, come on in, let me get my stuff together and we can go. And they're very confused because they are not there from the mental hospital. They're Francie's fortified fish fingers. So Annabelle drafts Boris into keeping the clients busy because she's at the end of her rope. Since the client wants to meet the kids and the kids aren't there, or they think the kids aren't there, they'll just come back the next day. Annabelle goes back to her bedroom, goes back to the master bedroom and yells, "Mommy!" really loudly, and suddenly finds herself crying into her mother's lap. Apeface is home and safe. Ella's home and safe. Ellen is kind of chagrined at the state of the pantsuit that Annabelle wore all day, and the beautiful chick was Annabelle herself. You see, this was the day that Annabelle was supposed to have had her braces removed. Annabelle hates her orthodontist and avoids it at all costs, so Ellen switched them for the day, both to give Annabelle a chance to walk a mile in Ellen's shoes, and also to make sure that Annabelle gets her braces removed. Ellen didn't just make sure that the braces came off. She also went out and bought Annabelle a whole new wardrobe and gave her a makeover. That's why Boris didn't recognize her. And Annabelle had to hand it to her mom's acting chops. Annabelle was really convinced that they were both still Annabelle. Bill comes home none of the wiser for the switch. Ellen says she'll redo the shirts for the next day. Boris decided to make beetloaf, which Annabelle assumes is meatloaf because of the adenoids, but is still bright red. So Annabelle offers 3 options for the Boris Boris post makeover, and we get the third one. The first 2 are great, but the third one is how it really happened. She's on it. She's the parents in the bedroom. Apeface is in his bedroom. In the kitchen, she hears a noise, and she's like, "Am I going to be robbed?" And she goes in the kitchen, and there's Boris. And Boris says, "I was just checking on the meatloaf." "How did you get in here anyway?" The doorbell didn't ring. "Somebody left the door open." He sniffed. In a minute, the M's and N's would be back. "Hey," he said, peering at me carefully. The great moment was happening. And then he holds his a meat fork to her neck. A 2-pronged meat fork to her neck. And he asks her what she did with the kid. And she says, he's like, where'd you put the kid? And the kid's okay. He's my brother. I'm Annabelle Andrews. And he demands that she show her her teeth. And the braces are gone, so he doesn't recognize, so he doesn't believe her. And then Apeface comes in and says, "She is my sister, it's okay." And then we find out how Boris's meatloaf came out. You see, they didn't have enough meat to make a meatloaf. So the way he's been saying beetloaf this whole time, that's what it is. It's made with beets and other things, tuna and tarragon, and it turned out to be okay. But at one point, Annabelle says, "Oh, so when you go up to somebody and say, hello, my name is Boris, they've come to make a meatloaf. People hear, hello, my name is Morris, and I've come to make you a meatloaf. And he said, yeah. And he said, so people probably think your name is Morris. And he says, that's because it is. So, the very end of the book says that it asks, it's like a comprehension question kind of format. How did the extra credit turn out? And she says, well, it turned out to be 175 pages long, and you're holding it in your hands right now. I got marked down because it was unbelievable, but I passed English. So it's a really good book. I love it. I love that scene with Harv and Merv and except Stan, but Stan wasn't there. That's actually like a quote from the book. Stan wasn't there, remember? And Plonchik and company. Just that, I love that scene. The whole book is full of little quotes. It's so funny. I'll just be going through my life and I'll say something, and it'll be like, "Isn't that from Freaky Friday?" And yes, it was. I also refer to when somebody looks at you like you're angry, like they're angry or whatever. I use the term hairy eyeball. Freaky Friday. So it's just such a good book. I love it. I hope you love it too. I hope anybody out there who has read it also loved it, and I hope other people will read it because of this recommendation, and they will love it just as much as I did, as I always have. So we will be back. This is my third San Antonio Zoo shirt video for today, and I have 54 minutes of space left on my phone. Let's see if I can knock out these last 3 videos in that much time. As always, let me know if you've got any recommendations. Thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for watching it, and I will see you in the next one. And maybe I will remember to put pants on in between the videos, because I'm still wearing my pajama bottoms. I will talk to you later. Bye for now.